What's up, guys? This is Oddsar here, bringing you guys my Week 1 battle of the HBL, or not HBL. This is the IBL, and this is my team I decided to bring. I decided to bring Gliscor, Mimikyu, Bulu, Magnetic, Heatran, and Musharna, and those are the 6 out of my 8 current mons. The only 2 mons I didn't bring was Toxapex and Draudigon. Those were the 2 I decided to opt out of bringing. And honestly, I would have brought Toxapex and had like all my main Pokemon, but I was pretty much forced to kind of bring Musharna just to help patch in some holes that I needed for this matchup. And honestly, I still think I have a very poor matchup versus this team. If Zygarde comes in, it claims a kill. If Gardevoir comes in, it claims a kill. No matter what, both, they claim kills. They do. They honestly just claim kills. I do have some iffy things about my team, but I think this is probably the best I could have brought. I could have done a few other things, like I didn't have Drain Punch on Mimikyu, which that should have brought. I never clicked Rocks on Gliscor. I should have clicked Rocks at some point, but I never clicked Rocks. Also, I never clicked I tried clicking Defog once, and I just didn't see the point whenever I had the opportunity. I probably should have, but I just never did. So with that, I'm fairly scared of Brendan's team. I think he has a decent advantage towards me because of the Zygarde and the Gardevoir, but also I can't sleep on the Lycanroc at all, and I think I was too passive with a Mega Manectric. But let's just get into this battle and we'll get rolling. Alright, so I know his first lead was Cragnole, my first lead was Gliscor. I decided to do Gliscor to get up some rocks. I get a nice juicy Earthquake if need be, and I can just be kind of annoying with Gliscor. But sadly, he does bring out the only counter I have. I should have probably had I should have had some type of Fang on me to be able to deal with this or something, but I did not, and I am forced just to switch out into Heatran, which is a very safe play, and I don't really think he can do anything to me, except if he has him powered ground, which I have a Shucker Berry, and I'm not super worried about. I know he definitely can go for it here, but I got frozen. Sadly, I did get frozen this turn, and I do believe this impacted the game completely. Turn 1 freeze completely impacted this entire game, with a few exceptions. If I did not get turn 1 frozen, I would have stayed in. I would have clicked Fire Blast, and I do stay in. I do try and click Fire Blast because I have nothing that wants to deal with this. I'm very, very scared of that, and I do have to do that. Or I want to try and burn a turn of freeze, hopefully thaw out next turn, and I just want to stay in and try and do that. And I do stay in. He brings out the Zygarde named Squishy, and I just try and go for Fire Blast. I am frozen solid, and I am at a dilemma. I am at a dilemma here. I am debating on if I should stay in and possibly go for HP Ice and hope that I unthaw and possibly lose my Heatran. But the possibility that he could set up on me, the possibility that he could be like a D-Dance plus Coil set could really hurt my team, and I don't have too many great options versus this Zygarde. Like, if he gets a D-Dance plus a Coil, I can't touch it. I really can't, and I have to make the aggressive switch into Bulu, in my opinion. I honestly do. I have to do this switch because I'm frozen. If I was not frozen, I would have stayed in. 100% I would have stayed in if I was not frozen. But since I was frozen, I can't take the chance of not thawing out. I have to switch into Bulu. And I do know that Zygarde does get Sludge Wave. I am carrying the Kebia Berry, so I am taking anything from him, even if he's special on the off chance that he is. I can take any one hit. from it. If he's if he's a normal Zygarde with like a coil set, and with Sludge Wave only does about 75% to Bulu, and I can 75% without the berry, and it only does probably about 30% with the berry, something like that. And I think I can take 2 if I'm not mistaken. So best case scenario, I can take 2 and kill off this Zygarde if he happens to use it this turn. But I did have a Heatran out. I guess he would probably be predicting the switch, and he does. He predicts the switch beautifully and hits me. But like I said, if I was not frozen, I would have stayed in, clicked HP Ice. This turn would have been a mute point because he would have clicked Sludge Wave. I would have clicked HP Ice, and I would be at pretty much full HP, and I would have brought the Zygarde down pretty good. I would have brought it down very low. That's what I'm trying to say. And if I have to switch in Bulu later, I can always just take the hit, figure out if this thing's faster or slower than me. I would have figured that out that turn prior, and I would have been in a such better situation. But I did get the freeze. It happens. It is Mons. I do understand that, but I do think this freeze impacted the first few turns very heavily, and I had to risk Bulu when I really did not want to risk Bulu. Like, I could have went into Musharna, check some things out, but I think this was the best play in case he was a Coil or a D-Dance set. And I think I made the right call. It's just I was punished heavily for this call, and I regret this, or I don't regret it, but I think it sucks, but it happens. That freeze happens. There's a 10% chance, and I'm going to try and stop talking about that freeze because there's nothing I can do about that at this point in time. Like I said, it would have been a different game, but this is the game. That game we are not playing. We're playing this game where I got frozen turn 1. Anyways, let's get on to the battle here. I eat the Kevia berry and that take about 60%. Not realizing this thing is a special Zygarde, but if I actually calc the damage, I would have realized this is a special Zygarde. I should have known because I had the calc in my head where Zygarde only does about this much if he's like non-invested. Like a non-invested Zygarde does about this much to me. I should have realized that since I ate the Kevia berry. I was confused on why it did so much damage. I did comment on that. Sadly, I don't have any way to record during that time, so you just have to take my word on it. After that, I do have to switch out, and I should have realized here that since he switched out too, I am actually faster than that Zygarde. That should have gave me major information that I just never picked up on. I never did anything with that information, and I'm kicking myself now because of it. I made slight minor misplays that cost me this game, and I am so frustrated about that. And the other thing I can't really do anything about, with the freeze, but like if I didn't get frozen, then I said I'd stop talking about it, but I keep going back to it. But let me just skip back here. This is where I click Earthquake if it didn't show, and it does about 30% because of Grassy Terrain. It only done about another probably 20%. I say that's probably 20, and that was another 20, so it only would have done about 40% to this, but that would have been necessary chip that I needed. I could have actually calculated this as well. I should have seen if this was a physical or a special defensive Registeel, but I never did. I need to get better at calculating the small, minute things, but this is the first time I was ever in Wi-Fi, and I'm making a buttload of excuses, but just work with me here. I am a little upset and sad about this game, but we're going to keep pushing forward, and hopefully I can come back in this game, because I do think I'm at a very big disadvantage at this point in time. And if I well, what am I trying to say? And I do have chances to come back. Like Mega Manectric does do lots of damage to his team. I need chip on this thing. If this thing is especially defensive, I need chip on pretty much everything before I can switch that in. I really do not want to chance this thing coming in on a earthquake from this thing. I should have realized since we are in grassy terrain, I can just switch it in, but I didn't ever think about it. I don't know why. I forgot. I forgot that how grassy terrain works. I'm sorry. I made some unusual plays that I would change now, and I know I do differently, but I am focusing too far into these little minute things, and we're already 11 minutes in. I want to get this game rolling. He clicks HP Ice. No, of course he does, and I am forced to switch out here again. And I really need chip on this Registeel just in case anything happens. Like, I need chip on this Registeel. 1 for Mega Manectric, 2 for Bulu, 3 pretty much anything else. I end up going Heatran. I knew he wasn't going to click Earthquake there, and he opts to go Zygarde here. And I will stay in here, and I will just go for a Hidden Power Ice, hoping to do about 80 to 90%. So this was the turn that I was talking about that I would have done earlier if I was not frozen. This is the exact turn I would have done. Instead of switching into Bulu, I would have done that. And it showed to only do about like high 40s. It did about 45 to 50%, somewhere in between there. It didn't quite do 50 because it's not quite on the yellow. So there's that. I didn't really want to risk this. I was really thinking about just staying in and attacking him one more time, but with the grassy terrain recovery, I knew I was not going to 2-hit KO him, sadly. Because if it was not from the grassy terrain, I had a chance to 2-hit KO. I was also thinking about going Gliscor here. The Gliscor was also a very decently safe play. Like, if since I know he's probably not going to go for Hidden Power Ice again, I do have a fairly safe switch into Gliscor. Also, a fairly decent switch into what I did go into, which was Mimikyu, because it takes no damage. I really do regret this play after thinking about it, because Mimikyu was very important with this team, and I had to pretty much I had to keep that thing alive just to have a chance of dealing with Gardevoir a lot easier. But it happens. I made some misreads, and I wasn't thinking clearly enough in the game, and I'm making too many excuses. I really need to stop and just focus on this game. Like I said, I went out into Mimikyu, he goes Earth Power, and I lose the Disguise. I do make a decent double here, going out into Bulu. Onto the Registeel. Bulu covered a few different plays that he could have made, and it was actually pretty beneficial for me with the Registeel in play. I can just click Superpower, and that does about 40% to it, and I was fine kind of risking the Bulu with like a Hidden Power, or not Hidden Power, with a Iron Head or anything like that. I do believe I live, and I can just click 1 Superpower and do massive amount of damage if it's especially defensive, like I kind of thought it would be. But if it is physically defensive, it doesn't do as much, and I do believe this was a physically defensive Registeel, because it should be doing almost double that from my calcs. It wasn't going to kill, but it would have done enough to 2-hit KO with a Superpower, if I'm not mistaken. So I do have an attack drop and a defense drop, and he just ends up going Stealth Rocks. This turn, I decided to, alright, he's probably not staying in. I don't think he really wants to take a lot of damage on Bulu, because this kind of counters a few things on my team, like Mimikyu. Like, if I'm able to set up with that, then he needs this thing alive to deal with it, and he doesn't really want to take damage with it. So he opts to go this thing, and I predicted this. This was one of the best reads that I made this game. I clicked P-Gleam, and it does 40%, which really bumped me out. It was a neutral roll from the set that he gave me, but if it wasn't for the set he brought, I would have 2-hit KO'd. If he did not bring a specially defensive Mana Buzz, I would have 2-hit KO'd. And honestly, I would have lost my Bulu too, because he does have speed into this Mandibuzz, and I would have lost this Bulu, to be fair. The only thing that would have saved me here was maybe he thought I might have speed into this, but I don't think he does because of the Zygarde thing, because I used this as a counter to Zygarde, but Zygarde actually countered me, which is kind of funny. I do have to go out into Gliscor here, I do believe. Right? Yes, I do go out into Gliscor. Basically, Mandibuzz cannot touch me. I can't touch it either. Or, I can't really touch it. I have Ice Fang to touch it. I have Ice Fang, Earthquake, Stealth Rocks, and Defog. Sorry, I'm getting lost. He taunts me. I can't use Defog, and he realizes this is my Defogger. So he's going to try and get taunt off me the best I could. He goes for Bone Rush. I click Ice Fang, and that does about 35 to 40%, probably about 30%, somewhere around there. I get healed up with Toxic Orb. He clicks Brave Bird. I stay in because this thing's not really hurting me at all, and I have a recovery moves, which is perfectly fine, and he does hurt himself with Recoil. I click Ice Fang once again, and I bring him down to about 40%, and I get some Toxic Orb recovery, and the taunt has worn off. I think he might taunt me, so I am very skeptical of clicking Stealth Rocks or Defog. I was not going to do that at this turn, and I did end up just clicking Ice Fang here, but he does end up roosting. That's what I'm afraid of, since this thing is faster than me. Oh wait, no, I went for Earthquake here because I was predicting him to roost, and I didn't want him to stall me out of power and to stall me out of Ice Fang, and I knew it wouldn't do enough damage, because you do lose the flying typing whenever you roost. So I knew Ice Fang wasn't going to do as much damage as Earthquake would. I do make that nice read, and there's that. He roosts again. I think I do click Earthquake one more time, because just to get it in range. Right? Yes, I do click Earthquake once again, because I was figuring it as assuming that he was just going to roost, and I was correct on that. I thought this was where he was at a decent enough HP, and he does end up clicking Taunt, so I do just click Ice Fang here once again, and I bring it down very low, and I freeze it. This was a turning point in the match, kinda. I don't have to risk anything to kill this thing, and Mandibuzz is a very huge pain to a vast majority of my team. Like, Bulu can't do anything against it because it is specially defensive, and if he gets a roost up, then I'm pretty much screwed in that regard. So I was like, alright, okay, I can just click one more Ice Fang. If he wants to switch out, that's fine. I can just kill this off with pretty much anything else I have on my team. Also, I was, after this play right here, I need to go back here. Right, he is frozen currently, and then he thaws out immediately. I freeze him, and then he thaws out. I was so mad whenever I seen this. I was furious, because I couldn't get a turn 1 thaw, but he gets a turn 1 thaw. Like, to be fair, I was using Ice Fang more than just once. I used it 4 times, I do believe, and he used Freeze Dry once, and I had kinda a 40% chance to freeze, because it's like a 10%, and then another 10%, then another 10%, then another 10%, right? It's still a 40% chance to freeze, but it is a better percent chance than he did the first time. It's not like I froze him the very first time, and I needed this to land. I needed to kill him here. He just opted to go for the roost, like, alright, I needed Mandibuzz, but sweet, I thawed out. I was very, very, I didn't think I had any chance in this game once that happened. I know I still have plenty of answers and I'm able to somewhat come back, but that did not help at all. Having Mandibuzz fall out immediately did not help at all. I do end up just clicking Ice Fang, and Mandibuzz does live another few turns. So I do just click Ice Fang. It does nothing because it doesn't have the flying typing and is only a dark type at this point, and I am trying to figure out when I want to switch out here, because this is a stall fest I don't really want. I think I'm trying to do it one more time. I think I want to get low enough where it has to roost and I can bring in Mega Manectric. I think that's what I was planning on doing. I was going to attack maybe one more time, then switch out. Like I was going to switch out, I think, on my next attack. That's what I was planning. I was switching out on that next attack, and I was like, man, I was like so upset that I didn't initiate it, you know. And I was so upset about that. I was going to go Mega Manectric. I would have done the same play that I did later, which you'll see in a second. And he does go out into Craggle. I click Ice Fang because I was just wanting to, you know, deal a little bit more damage, make him roost, and then switch, which I should have done that way earlier, and I didn't. I go out into Musharna here. I take a little bit of rocks damage, take a hidden power ice. That's perfectly fine. It has enough HP to take pretty much anything he wants to throw at me. And this is a pure support set, by the way. That's exactly what this thing is, a support set. He goes out into Mandibuzz. I switch out into Mimikyu. And I click Play Rough. I should make a double here, and I'm glad I didn't, because he did stay in. If he would have switched into Registeel, I would have got a little bit of chip off, but I was mad at this Mandibuzz. I was not letting this Mandibuzz live any longer. And I do end up just clicking Play Rough, killing off the Mandibuzz. But I will say this. He is right whenever he said the smarter play would be switching out. He's completely right. I just made a frustrated play, and I did get rewarded with a kill. So there's that. So basically the freeze didn't have any impact because of this play. It was still kind of unfortunate because he would have still went into Craggle. I would have had to go into into Musharna, and then I would have switched out into something, and he would have switched out into something as well. It just, he could not have swapped into Mandibuzz. I'm assuming the turns would have been pretty similar to that. So after this, Mandibuzz does go down. I think Registeel does come out here. He figures out that I am Life Orb, and Registeel does come out here. And I am forced to switch because Mimikyu can't do anything to it, and Iron Head does kill me. I switch out into Year the Bulu, and he does end up clicking I think he clicks. Yeah, he clicks Thunder Wave. I opt. This is very unfortunate for me, right? I know paralysis is about a 25% chance, right? Right, this was a 20% chance right here, and let's just get on to the next turn here. I heal a little lefty's recovery from the grassy terrain, and he clicks Thunder Wave. I'm already paralyzed, and I paralyze myself right here, so I lose that 25%. Or no, I lose the 75% because that's 25%. Then I technically lose. I think the half of 25% would be like the 85% chance because I lose this as well. And he clicks Iron Head. I would have been fine taking that Iron Head if I didn't get paralyzed. I was completely fine with that until I got paralyzed, because I would have done enough chip on this thing where I could have easily just brought in Mega Man Electric and been able to pretty much kill this thing. And Mega Man Electric can pretty much 1v1 anything on his team. But this ended up happening, and I pretty much do have to sack. Or I don't have to sack him this turn, but I do. This does make him a sack, and if I was able to get any chip on this thing, it would have been a much better situation for me. Sadly, I did not, and this Registeel will be alive and kicking for the rest of the game. Okay, so Bulu does end up here. I will just okay, where was I? Yeah, okay. So I go out into Musharna here. Yeah, basically that happens. He clicks Iron Head. I am a little scared of this thing, and he clicks I don't exactly know why he clicked that, because I'm like, Musharna has a very low base speed. I guess just to kind of psych me out, maybe get a para or two, which really is really unfortunate. But he does have it himself as well because of Synchronize. And I opt to just click Moonlight because I can't really do anything to this thing, and he can't really do anything to me. And I think he will just opt out to go into Cresselia here. I should have made a aggressive play at some point going into... I should have made some type of aggressive play into Mega Man Electric at some point. I never did. And he... and I still do think I could have won this game if I played a little bit more aggressively, for one. And if the hacks were not as one-sided as they were. Because I don't think I got any hacks this game. Honestly, the best situation was there was no hacks, right? But they were favored to one side, which kind of sucked. I couldn't really do anything about that. I like that Registeel never got parried. I got parried 3 times that game. I got frozen once, and he got a thaw immediately, which those were kind of huge. At least the turn 1 was huge. The not getting single para is fine. I understand it's a 25% chance, but I got parried 3 times. If I did not get paralyzed 3 times, or possibly more, I don't exactly know. I know I got paralyzed twice with Bulu and then once with Musharna. I think I might have got paralyzed 1 more time with Bulu. I'm not exactly sure. But if the Registeel would have gotten parried once or anything like that, I could have possibly cleaned up with Mega Man Electric, because, like I said, Mega Man Electric does a lot to his team. It does a lot to Heatran. It should kill a Cragnole. It should kill a Registeel. It will kill the Gardevoir with a little bit of chip, and it will kill that. It won't kill that Bulu set, but the normal Bulu set it would kill at that point in time. But yeah, I am overcomplicating things, and he does just opt to go out to Mega Gardevoir. I made a bad play here, which I think I clicked D-Gleam there, and if I would have got that chip, I would not have done this turn. Like, all right, this thing's coming in. What can it really do to me? I'm not really expecting this thing to set up, but it definitely could. And that is what he ends up doing. I wasn't really expecting that. I was like, oh crap, I'm in trouble now, because I don't have an answer to this thing. My only answer is Heatran to take any psychic moves, and I know this has Hidden Power Ground. 100% this thing has Hidden Power Ground, and I barely do live one with a +1 Gardevoir. He clicks Hyper Voice, doing about 70% to me, and I click Healing Wish, which was a alright turn. It wasn't anything special, because I do just end up going Heatran over thinking about it. I was going to go out into Bulu, but depending on his set, Hyper Voice does kill me from full, and I wouldn't even be at full because of the rocks damage. So I had a very, very slim chance of living a Hyper Voice, and I was not ready to risk that. I do just go out into Heatran. I do live anything he wants to do to me, and he clicks the Hidden Power Ground, which is fine. I go down to 51%, and I take the Shucker Berry and I use Flash Cannon, and that does quite a bit of damage to it, and which is about 70%. So I have two options here. Either I go Mimikyu or I go Mega Manectric. Or no, after the sack I do for the Bulu, I either go Mega Manectric or I go or I go Mimikyu to do a Shadow Sneak. What he could have done here, which was a misplay on my part, I should have went Mega Manectric. That should have been my play here, because I outspeed for one, and I should kill with a T-Bolt. Even at a +1 special defense, I should have went Mega Manectric here, because that threatens out everything on his team. He could have went into Zygarde, but at the HP it's at, I don't believe it would live a Hidden Power Ice. I could be wrong, because it was about 60% to AAV Zygarde. I could check the calcs, and I probably will after this recording, but I do believe I would at least threaten that thing out, that Zygarde into the play, and I could have dealt with that a little bit more efficiently with that at least. So with that, I do end up just going for the Shadow Sneak, because I kind of have to. I do honestly just have to kill this thing off. I don't want it staying in case it does want to kill me. I have to kill this thing off, and that will be my last kill of the game. He does end up 4-0ing me, and we'll just see the pain endure, because I have nothing for this for this thing. I decided to switch out into Gliscor. Honestly, I should have switched out into Mega Manectric. I don't know why I didn't. I was fearing Earthquake. That's why. I was fearing Earthquake way too much. Especially since I have a Grassy Terrain up, I should not be fearing Earthquake that much at all. But I was, so I played around it way too much. And apparently he wasn't even running it. I think he was, I'm trying to remember what he had. He had Stealth Rocks. He had Thunder Wave. He had Iron Head, and I can't recall the last move. I don't know what that last move was. Yeah, I think I was thinking that final move was Earthquake, so I was not really wanting to risk Mega Manectric. And if I had Flamethrower, I probably would have, because I can probably 2-hit KO with a Flamethrower, but I don't think I can 2-hit KO with Overheat. So this does happen. I bring out Gliscor that is pretty much full HP. He clicks T-Wave. It does no damage to me. I recover a little bit of HP, and I will just click Earthquake, forgetting about the Grassy Terrain once again, and it only does about 30% or about 20%, if that. And he clicks HP Ice, doing about 100% or about 50% to me, and I am very scared at this point, because if I don't play right, I can lose. I will lose. I end up switching out into Heatran. Sorry. And Heatran does come out. I take Rocks damage, and he ends up switching out that into sorry, he ended up switching that out into Cragnole, and I made a bad judgment here. If I had more HP on this Heatran, then I could have dealt with the Cragnole a lot better. And yeah, this was very poor on my decision. I also was thinking about doing a Scarf Heatran for a while. But this set was what I ended up going with. So there's that. I do just go down to a Hidden Power Ground, and Heatran is now dead. I have 3 monsters remaining. That is Mimikyu, Mega Manectric, and It's not Musharna. Musharna Healing Wish. Bulu died and Heatran died. My only other Mon was I'm at 1419. My only other Mon was Gliscor. Gliscor was my other one. I was at around here. Okay. Around here. Okay, Heatran dies. I finally go out into Mega Manectric, but this is just too late. It's honestly just too late. And I should have checked for this. I knew he could have had this. This was definitely on my mind. He has in Power Ground, which I knew. I should have definitely checked for the Sugar Bear. I was thinking about it. I was like, nah, it's not going to be something like that. But of course it is. I was wrong, and underestimating Brendan. I'm sorry for that. I honestly did underestimate Brendan a little bit, and I got hurt. I got hit hard because of it. I should have taken more time into my gameplay, and I was unprepared. And I do have to actually switch out here because another overheat would not kill this thing. And even if I clicked overheat, I don't want something else coming in, and I can't deal with it. Like, if he brings out Zygarde, then I have to, actually, no, I'd be fine if he just did that. But I don't believe another overheat would have killed. It could have. It had a possibility, but I wasn't wanting to chance the rolls. So, I do go out into Mimikyu, basically not sacking it off, but I take unnecessary damage from it, and I just have to switch right back out because Registeel just comes out anyways. So I am very afraid of this. Actually no, I do go for the Shadow Sneak, but it doesn't do anything because he does switch out. Oh wait, no, that's Sucker Punch I'm thinking of. Sorry. And I made another poor misplay here. I switch out Mimikyu. I should have let it die. I for some reason thought I still needed it, which I didn't at this point. I bring out Gliscor. He clicks Iron Head, does about a little chip to me, and I end up defogging finally, which I should have done a while ago. But this ultimately doesn't matter. I lose my Gliscor. I bring out Mega Manectric. He switches out into Bulu, I do believe, and Bulu will just end up killing me because there's nothing I can do. If I switch out and switch back in, then I have the same problem, and I will just lose to this Zygarde. No, I will lose to this thing. Yes, I would lose to this thing here. If I happened to get another crit, it would have been a lot better situation, but I have to crit pretty much everything at this point because I can't take. Oh wait, no, rocks aren't on the field anymore, so I would have to sack him. At that point in time, if I got that crit, like I was hoping, I'd have to get back-to-back crit just to kill this Lycanroc, but even at that, I don't think I could have came back. The Zygarde, I don't even think I could have killed, even with an HP Ice from a neutral standpoint. The Registeel, I would have, if he had all he had to do was bring in Registeel, then I was forced to click overheat, and I would have lost basically at that point. So my last two Mons do go down to this Accelerock. I lose Mega Manectric, and I do lose Mimikyu, and I am 4-0'd for my first week versus Brendan. It was honestly a great game to Brendan. I'm sorry if I sounded overly how do I want to say it? Overly not sensitive, overly my voice is actually going out at this point because I don't know how to commentate, but I am as overly complaining, I guess. But this was a great game from you on your side. You played amazingly well, and hopefully this kind of cleared up what I was talking about. I know turn one in my mind made a huge impact on it because I would not have had to risk that Bulu there, and Heatran was still been at full HP because he showed he was willing to click Sludge Wave versus a Heatran. And like I said, if he D-danced or something like that, I would have been in trouble, because Heatran, even with a Shuka, does not live a 1,000 arrows. So there's that. And I don't know. Just like if it was any other set than the one he brought, Bulu would have been in a lot better situation. And if I knew, like, I can't ever like really picture anything. Like I had to go for the moves I did, and I couldn't figure out the speed until it was too late. Right? Like if I knew he was a like a slow Zygarde, I could have done something else. But I am talking too much about that point. Brennan, great game to you. This is week 1 of the IBL. Hope you guys do enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.